Alright folks, we're going to call this one the double down. Well, ish, yeah. Because basically what churches are doing, certainly the River Church and the Community Church of God, what they're doing is called the double down. Okay? Because basically, okay, the River Church, I criticise what they're doing because the pastor brings someone in to speak who is nowhere near ready. God chose not to use this person for a reason. The pastor chooses to use him, and then we see the reason why God didn't choose him. Okay? Yeah. My annoyance is mainly with the pastor, not with the person. Okay? The pastor himself says, well, what the person meant, rather than what they said, was okay. So therefore you're saying what he said wasn't okay, but you're saying that actually because of what he meant, yeah, that's okay. No, again, because you're saying that the people that went there that day, that's what they were worth, and it's like they weren't. That's the point. Therefore you as a pastor were wrong. The person who went up there, they couldn't do anything other than what they did. That's the reality. They couldn't do anything other than what they did because they weren't ready. They were in no position where they had the knowledge of God, the knowledge of God's nature, of God's will, to do better than what they did. So, okay, you can't blame that person. No. But you can blame the person who chose him to get up there. You can say, excuse me, what are you doing? Why would you do that? That's insane. Okay? So, in criticising that, the pastor didn't like that. So, okay. He doubled down and basically banned me from church. Yeah? Okay. Well, for that sort of thing. For me complaining about what they're doing. Yeah, for them saying when the Queen died that the church has no head. Excuse me. It does. Because it was never the Queen that was the head. At all. But I get it. They're confused because the Queen is counted as the symbolic head of the C of E church. Now, this is a Baptist church we're talking about. So, of course, unless you still think the Baptist church is a C of E church, again, lack of understanding. And again, for God to say, or for this woman to say that God chose her, someone with such lack of understanding, to be the head of that group, no, that's a lie. God is not going to choose someone who has such a lack of understanding to lead others. It's ridiculous. Unless God wants you to completely fail. Now, of course, God may want you to completely fail. Right? That is quite possible. It is quite within the realm of possibilities that God wants you to completely fail. Yes. And the Community Church of God. Okay. So therefore, yes. God showed me Mrs. B, but perfected version of Mrs. B. Okay? On that day. Now, again, exactly why, I'm not going to know, really, until the evidence is absolutely in as to why God wanted me to see her in that way. Now, maybe in the future she's going to be perfected. Hopefully, for her sake, she's going to be, yes. Whether that's the case, I don't know. But at the time, certainly, very soon after that day, so I went back. That was on Sunday. So the next Saturday I went back to LL, and there God said, "You're ready." I thought he meant with regards to wife, right? And so therefore put 2 and 2 together, because basically she was pretty much, not necessarily exactly, because again, 10 years earlier when I was speaking to God about my wife, he told me some things, and then some things I just wrote down, things that I wanted. Yeah, so was she everything? No, but she was 70% of what I'd written down 10 years earlier. From that country, the age, the nature, had that smile. She basically was the person that I wrote down. Okay. Well, because what I wrote down was that my wife would be from Wales, because to me the Welsh accent has always been beautiful. I've always loved that. And so that's always been something that I've always loved. But then again, maybe that was me. Maybe that wasn't God who told me that. Maybe that was me. I don't know. Anyway. So put about her height, put about her nature, put about who she would be as a person. And she fitted that very, very well. Plus, God had shown me her in a perfected way. So, okay, I didn't realise it was perfected until more recently. But, okay, it was. She was in a perfected form at that point in time. When I saw her, the way God wanted me to see her. So, okay. Understandable. I put 2 and 2 together and reach, 5, maybe. But again, from a church point of view, I did that. What they did, they doubled down. They said, okay, because she got offended, rather than teach her to deal with offence and deal with it and say, well, if he's right, then you've got to deal with that. If he's wrong, what are you worrying about? You're a married woman. Focus on your relationship with your husband. Don't worry about him. Yeah? If it's a problem, we deal with it. But the whole idea of banning this person from church because of that, no. No. You don't do that. And then years later, if you're still upset about the whole thing, again, come on. The position from church has got to be, what are you upset about it for? You're still married. You've still got a wonderful husband. You've still got a lovely marriage. Well, there you go. Focus on that. Don't worry about that crap. If he's wrong, that's his issue. Why are you making it yours? But, they did that. But then they doubled down, not helping her to deal with it. That's one thing they did. But then they doubled down and said, we're going to ban you as well. Yeah. Okay. They chose. They chose to not help people to deal with their issues. And instead of doing that, to ban me. That's what they chose to do. I didn't choose for them to do that. No. No. They chose to do that. That was up to them. They had other options available to them, but they chose that. Great. Do that then. Yeah. Their choice, wasn't it, really? Mm-hmm. And they're free to choose, that sort of thing. But that's the point. So, yeah. They did wrong, but instead of fixing it, they doubled down. Now, don't do that. Don't double down. That's not the right move. Especially to double down doing something which you say is one of the worst things you could ever do. Because if you say church is so important, you say banning someone from church, it's like I went around church trying to stab people in church. This is how they've reacted to those things. Banning me from church as if I'm such a danger to church. Right? Yeah, I'm not trying to stab anyone in church. No. I'm not trying to kill anyone in church at all. Yeah, but unfortunately speaking, we have that situation within society now. It used to be that case, sticks and stones will break my bones, but words will never hurt me. Now it's the case that words are worse than sticks and stones. Words are basically equal to a machine gun. In society and in church. So there you go. If you say things that a person finds offensive, This is what they will do. This is what they can do. They can double down. They can make a wrong decision and then they can ban you, like you have come into a church with a knife trying to stab everyone in there. That you are that dangerous to the church members, they will ban you from entering the church. Yeah. When they overreact, what do? There you go. That's the point. So when they're reacting in that way and doing things in that way, you know it's not of God. You know that what they're doing is not of God. So you know if the way they're doing things like that is not of God, you know the way they're leading people is not of God. If they're leading people not of God, then they're leading people according to the devil. If they're doing that, then they're leading people according to hell. And to hell. So, yep. Do the math. But there you go. You take care. God bless. I'll speak to you soon. Bye-bye.